Hi, everybody. How are
Hello.
you? Good. It's 3:30 here at TrailblazerDX, day one. How's everyone feeling? Nice. I actually wouldn't ask you for a second how you feeling, because that was pretty legit.
Was that legit?
I kind of liked it. Well, Camilla wants me to do it again. How's everyone feeling?
There we go. See, there's
Wow.
a reason why we have a hype man on stage.
13-year MVP right here. Amber, give her applause. Nice. So everyone, my name is Vic. I work at Salesforce. I'm in the marketing and M&A, mergers and acquisitions, go-to-market strategy team. Alongside with me is...
Hi, I'm Ashley McCord. I'm a senior vice president in our internal IT organization, Business Technology, where I lead strategy and enablement and also get to lead the Salesforce and Slack team.
And my name is Kamila Khairov, and I am on the Slack product marketing team, where I talk about how Salesforce uses Slack, and we hope to do better. All right.
So we love Command K. I'm just going to take a quick pulse in the room. Who knows of Command K?
There is a
All
reason
right.
we're wearing these shirts, and the reason he's bringing this up.
Yeah.
It's not just a random
So
thing.
fun story. When we acquired Slack and we were integrating the companies, from a marketing perspective, we looked at a whole bunch of things. And I was looking at their real estate, and I thought, okay, what's this Command K engraving object they had in their office? Like, what do we do with this? We just got to, let's integrate it. And they're like, no, it can't go anywhere. I'm like, what is Command K? And they said it's the command of all commands. And I thought, okay, so I started using Command K like maybe a day after we acquired them, because everything was on Slack, and we'll get into why we use Slack at Salesforce entrenched into the company. But Command K is really special at the company because essentially it's the jump to your most recently visited actions inside of Slack. So whether it's a file, a person, a channel, a DM, or anything possible. So a good example is if I was speaking with someone named Adam at the company, maybe I was speaking with 5 Adams, or a file that started with AD or something, a channel. Instead of me searching globally or looking down my left nav, I would just do a Command K, look for possibly AD, and then I could see what I'm looking for, the most recently accessed object, more easily than I could select it and then jump to it right away rather than searching for it, waiting for it to search the entire Slack database and then going to it. So Command K, everybody, we love it. When I meet Command K people, I almost call them, put them in a bucket, but when I meet people who use Command K, they're like, heck yeah, Command K is legit. So at Dreamforce, we decided to print these and they've gone viral. There's no eBay listings yet, but they're going to go really quick. I want to give a shout out to Arash. Nice to see you, buddy. It's been a while.
Vic,
and
we're going to do the session now,
We're
right?
going to get started, everybody. Camilla, kick it off.
Oh, thanks.
All right, cool. I haven't seen him in so long. It's good to see him.
All right, so we are going to talk today about how Salesforce uses Slack with our own organizations. And as Vic mentioned, we acquired Slack in 2022, 21?
2020.
22. And it was a very interesting experience because one day we were using chat, and one day we had that turned off, and we had Slack turned on, and we went, okay, what do we do with this? How do we make this work for us? What are we supposed to do with channels and DMs? And isn't this just a chat tool? And what we're here to talk about today is the fact that it is so much more than chat, and it is such a powerful tool for development, for building out business processes, for really automating your organization's needs and making sure that for IT, you have partners in the lines of business that can help you do that. Do I need to go through this again? Cool, great. Forward-looking statement. Vic has already introduced us, so we're going to skip this as well. This is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about why it's valuable to bring Slack and Salesforce together. Ashley's going to take us through some of the apps and automation, some of the really cool custom things that we've built. Vic's going to talk about how we use it within our sales and marketing organizations. And then we'll talk a little bit about the roadmap, because goodness knows we all love the roadmap, right? Right. All right. Connection.
Give it up for Camilla.
I got you.
It's all right. We got her.
Supremely graceful
We
on
got her.
stage, guys. So Harvard Business Review did a really fascinating study. On average, and this boggles my mind, a Fortune 500 employee switches between apps and tabs 1,200 times a day. Which, I'm sorry, anything that I do ending in 2 zeros a day is insane to me. And if you add all of that up, how many seconds it takes, et cetera, that actually works out to 5 weeks wasted per employee. That's 10% of the year just wasted on moving between things, not even doing anything, copying and pasting things that you've written in one place and doing it elsewhere, or just redoing the same thing over and over again. Why? The whole point of unified employee experiences of tech stacks is supposedly to make our lives easier, to bring information together, to bring automations together so that you can quickly move through the tedious parts of your job and focus on the meaty areas where you can make an impact. So we think about Slack not just as a collaboration or chat tool, and we think of it as more than just a platform. We think about it as where work happens. It is where you're seeing your data from different systems. It is where your people are talking about that data and making decisions, and it's where you're acting on those decisions because you have all those systems tied together. Right now, our most sophisticated customers and our smallest customers can all use Slack in the same expanded way where they're having workflows run every day for their manual processes. We've got 3 million workflows running a day across all of our customers. 1.7 million apps are used actively each week. That is how many things are integrated, right? How many customers are bringing in data from third-party systems. And then you think about the structured and unstructured data, right? You've got structured data coming in from your systems. You've got your unstructured conversational data. And then, if you haven't noticed the theme at TrailblazerDX this year, you layer in AI. And the whole point of having AI in Slack is because you are building your own LLMs at your companies, right? You are building your databases. You are building all that information. And you need a quick way to consolidate it, to understand it, to digest it, and to act on it. Ashley was showing me some very interesting things about my direct reports, and then I can type in who responds the fastest to me, and it is not who I thought it was. We shall be having conversations in our one-on-ones. But AI can really change how you're using the data in Slack and the data that's coming into Slack to make your days easier, faster, more efficient. That is because it's the platform for work, right? It's not a chat tool. It's not a connection tool. It is where work happens, where like I said, your people, your conversations, your collaboration is in one place. Then you've got your automation for your manual tasks, and you've got AI that augments across the board. There's a bunch of GA things that you can try out today and see how much you can expand Slack past its regular collaboration boundaries. What we have seen rolling out Slack at Salesforce is that it really does propel results in shifting from meetings and emails to automations, channels, work asynchronously. We are down on emails, even though some people still send them, and we shame them publicly for it. We are down on scheduled video calls, AKA meetings. If you can record a clip, if you can do a quick huddle, you don't need to spend 30 minutes in a meeting. You can do it in 5, impromptu. Super powerful. And those workflows means that we're taking those manual processes that everyone's going to kvetch about, and we're putting them in Slack. We're tying them to our other systems. Ashley will touch on this later, but the approvals app is the single best thing we have ever built, pretty sure, because I, as a manager, don't have to go to 14 different systems to approve travel and expense and anything else that needs an approval. I just do it in one place in Slack. And thanks to the magic of APIs, that all talks to the other systems, and we love it so very much. All right, and with that, I'm going to pass it off to Ashley to talk about how our IT organization runs on Slack.
Thanks, Camila. So I joined Salesforce about 18 months ago, and to say that in the past 18 months I have checked my email maybe 18 times, maybe a little bit more, but not very much, is just mind-blowing to me. I worked at an oil and gas company where I had at least 400 emails coming in every day. And what's great about Slack is it has totally transformed, to your point, like the way I can prioritize communication. But what I've learned since I've come here is how much more powerful this platform is in really transforming not just what I do every day and how I communicate with my folks, but how I can manage my day. How do I want to start my day? What's most important to me by prioritizing channels, by looking at the workflows that are most important to me. But where we really see the value and where we're going next is looking at transforming our business lines. So I'm in the CIO organization at Salesforce, and one of the key things that we do is we look at each of our major CXO roles. So we look at marketing and sales, IT, ourselves, HR, et cetera. And we're looking at how can we help transform these business processes using Slack. So talking about automation that Camila talked about, how do we eliminate work? How can we pull AI and Slack together to transform those processes? So we're going to dive into 2 of those today. I'll hit on IT, and Vic will talk a little bit about sales. So how we start, this is just how we started with IT, is we looked at what are the common IT processes that we all get to live in every day, and kind of trying to unpack those and see what exists in the platform today that we can leverage. How many of you have used Slack AI yet? So
that group doesn't count.
So recent GA on that, but I can tell you, Camila was talking about an example using Slack AI search, super powerful to be able to ask questions about what is this project? I don't know what this project is about. Who is the person that talks to me the most, as she talked about? What does this acronym stand for? And it's actually querying all of the data in your system that is public, so any public channels or DMs that you have access to.
Or imagine coming back from your trip to TDX.
Yep.
And saying, let me do a recap of all the channels that I'm in, and then not having to dig through.
Yeah, so you've got both like the really smart search, but also the really smart summarization part. So being able to come back and say, hey, I need to catch up, what happened? So we're looking at some of those base capabilities, lists, Canvas, things like that that are available in the product today. But we're also building on top of that. What are some of the common functions that everyone in our businesses and all 6 of those CXOs that I talked about, what are they facing every day, and how can we start to streamline that? So that's where you see some of these icons on the bottom, and I'll touch on a couple of those of custom apps that we've been building to try and help with those processes. So the first one I want to talk about is something we call Ask Concierge. Concierge is our knowledge base. So if you think about all of our HR articles, all of our IT help articles, that's where that lives. We've had that in a web front end for a long time. It's been great. It was a really great, transformation when we initially had that. But things have changed, and now we have a lot better capabilities with Slack and with AI. And so we've combined those 2 in this app called Ask Concierge, where any employee can go and search for what is the holiday schedule, what is my vacation allowance, I need to reset my password, my computer is broken, I need help onboarding a new hire. And it's going out to those knowledge bases and coming back with a generated answer. So it's looking at the data that we have qualified as the most accurate results or content in our organization, coming back with a generated answer. If that doesn't help, then they can click a button to create a ticket. And we're doing the work behind the scenes to actually figure out which system that needs to go to. We're working on expanding that across all of those different business lines. Because as an employee, you think about, I need help with HR, I need help with IT, I need help with real estate, this power's run out, whatever. And so we're trying to just simplify all of that and make one place where all employees can go to get things done. Because we don't want them having to think about, wait, which is that IT or is that real estate? I don't know. So that's one great thing. And what you'll see is that just in a year, we've deflected 70,000 cases. 70,000 cases is 70,000 things that someone in IT or HR has had to open a ticket for, read the ticket, go search and find the knowledge article, close it, follow up, all of that. So we're saving a ton of time doing that. We're also seeing that even on the tickets that are created this way, we're getting a 70% faster resolution because it's in Slack, because it's where people are working. So instead of having to go through old email processes or an old process, it's happening right in the flow of the work. The next one I'll talk about is approvals, and Camila touched on it and stole a little thunder there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's great. I love it.
They built it. They built it. I can't steal the thunder. It's just simply amazing.
So what the problem here is that we're trying to solve is, again, we have major systems. We have Workday, we have Oracle for our ERP today, we have all of our Salesforce systems, we have Concur, we have Coupa. So as a manager, I have to go to all of these places to approve things for my folks. And having a large team, that can take a lot of time. Things get delayed because I forget. I'm not checking my email anymore, remember? And so things get lost. And so what we've done is we've built a central app called Approvals app, and we're connecting all of that through APIs to make this really the interface and the experience layer for folks who are needing to do approvals. And so I go to one place, my Approvals app, and all of those different approvals show up there. Whether it's an expense report or a purchase requisition or time off for someone, that's really what we're focusing on with this Approvals app. We've had a 90% reduction in time to approve. So we've taken things from 2 days on average for an expense report to 2 hours. Like, think about how much value you can get in that by paying the bills faster, by not paying the late fees on things, by getting things into the hands of folks before they even realized they needed it, right? We recently moved our M&A approvals into this application. So think about, we've recently done a couple of major or minor acquisitions. Historically, it would take us 7 days to get through all of the approvals for an M&A. It took us 3 hours for the last 2. That's massive, right? You're talking about very senior executive time, taking a lot of dollars off the table. So really powerful business case for us here. And then the final one I'll talk about here is Task Hub. So very similar to the approval story, except I have lots of things to do all over the place. I have things I need to complete in the HR system to do my benefits. I need to do training in another place. I need to take security trainings in another place. I have all of these things coming at me from all of these systems that, again, get lost in a barrage of emails historically or in some Slack channel. We're bringing all of that together, again, to improve the experience for every employee, to say, here's your tasks, here's what's outstanding, and you can simply complete it from there, and it will track like what your progress is on that. One thing I didn't mention, and I'll mention here, is thinking about how we bring AI both into the tasks and to the approvals. So if you think about approvals for a second, one of the things that we're working on is purchase requisitions. So we get a lot of them, I get to approve a lot of them, lots of questions on them. Do we already have a software that does this? Is this amount correct? Are the terms and conditions in this SOW appropriate? So we're starting to build in AI capabilities into that approval flow to say, here's my business rules. Like, use a Gen AI sort of feature to say, using OpenAI or whatever your LLM of choice is. In our case, we're using Einstein. But to say, should I approve this thing? Should I add something else into this task? Is there anything I want to generate specifically for this user? And so again, just another powerful way to bring Slack and AI together in one place. With Task Hub, we have delivered 500,000 tasks. So we have about 70,000 employees. You can multiply that out, quite a few for each employee. But again, now it's in one place. We've had a 40% increase in time to complete. So again, similar to approvals, really able to speed that up because it's all in one place. And then the last example I'll give to you, I talked a little bit about software costs. We know we've acquired a lot of companies, we leverage a lot of software outside of just our own. And so we said, you know what, let's see if we can try something. We know that in Task Hub, because it's a central place that everyone goes to on a daily basis, let's try and see if we can get some license reclamation of software in a better way. So we've done this for now, I think, 5 pieces of software, and I've already gotten over $1.5 million back in licenses that people have said, yeah, you know what, I don't need that. Before, they would ignore the email or the workflow, but it's right there in their face. So those are a couple. I'll pass it over to Vic to let us talk us through a little bit on sales.
Amazing, thank you. So when I think of all the work that Ashley and her team have done, I think about just confidence levels. When we acquire new companies, there's sometimes hundreds of employees coming in, sometimes there's thousands of employees, but also existing employees, like asking for software, requesting for time off. Is this expense gonna get approved? When is it gonna get approved? American Express is gonna charge me a late fee. Like, this instills a lot of confidence, and I look back at all the work that they've completed, it really instills confidence in me. I've been at Salesforce for 13 years. And yeah, things have changed and evolved, and we're a forward-looking company, but these little things that come up all the time, it effectively helps onboard so many employees. If we can onboard employees faster, you can also see the return on value in those employees, but also, it goes further and further down. So these changes just don't affect what we see here, but it trickles throughout the entire company. So really awesome work, thank you. And it's really and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart because it makes things a lot more easier, just like how Camilla mentioned, approvals, it just instills confidence inside the employees, but also inside the managers, and it trickles throughout the company. Now, let's talk about sales. When I started at Salesforce, I was an AE for 2 years. And things were different back then, and things are different today. But what we see here is how do we run sales inside of Slack? The common theme that you've been hearing so far is how do we increase productivity in the flow of work? So am I going to Coupa? Am I going to Concur? Am I going to various apps to do work? Now, we're trying to move that all centrally inside of Slack. And that includes sales. When I was an AE and I needed to, it was an intricate deal and I needed the deal team involved, the deal team was a separate team that gets in there and helps negotiate contracts, help negotiate price discounts, legal terms, this team gets involved in our instance of Salesforce, and that happens today, but as an AE or as a salesperson, I can activate that deal room request inside of Slack in the flow of work. So you're going to see me repeating that because it's pretty powerful. And we've seen a 14% increase in our win rates because, again, it's instilling confidence, but it's also getting that team engaged sooner than later. We know at the end of the quarter, there's a lot of deals being closed, and no matter what, throughout the entire year. And if we can help increase those deals to close quicker, it helps everybody. Pipeline management. I manage pipeline inside of our instance of Salesforce, which is great, but now I can do it in the flow of work inside of Slack, which has been immensely popular amongst all the existing account executives because they don't have to go somewhere else, and they're able to do that inside of Slack, whether they're getting off a plane, getting on a plane, or moving to another customer site. They can do it right away because pipeline management is truly where we can predict what's coming through the pipeline and what we can show at the end of the quarter or the fiscal year. And lastly is sales leader forecasting. So you're chasing your reps, and I was one of them. Enter your forecast. Tell me what things are going to look like. Is this deal up or is it out? It was either green or red, and I messed with my manager. I said yellow. He's like, there's no yellow. So now we have sales leader forecasting right inside of Slack, which is really, 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 again, it's boosting productivity, but it's also increasing sales rep happiness. We don't talk about that a lot, but it truly is. It's, the more they can let their RVPs or regional vice presidents bug them less and help them do what they're meant to do is selling, that will increase employee happiness, which will, again, affect ripples throughout the entire company.
One thing that we didn't mention on this slide is approvals.
Approvals, yeah.
Approvals also apply to quotes. Ashley?
Yeah, so we actually went live with this last week, and just in 1 week, we've already seen a 70% approval rate of our sales quotes within Slack. So already, again, very quickly, very little enablement, we've seen that swap over happen super fast. Because it's in the flow of work.
And again, they don't have to go to a different system. Yeah. Where you've done your Concur and your Coupa is now your quoting tool. And all of them are talking to each other, or rather, all of them are talking to you in Slack.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to ask a bold question. Who's heard of Einstein Copilot and Prompt Builder? Okay, good, because I was like, oh my God. So we launched that last week, and customers got super excited. Yay, customers, but also shout out to our product team. Those customers were calling their account executives, trying to get SKU upgrading their existing licenses, and because of this approvals app, it really helped get customers on Einstein Copilot and whatever they're looking for. So that was immensely popular, and we test drove that in last week's launch, and we've seen some really good success from it so far. Now, what does this all mean? I've talked about doing it in the flow of work. Well, that's where I want to introduce Slack Sales Elevate. So this is actually taking account executives and their teams, not just sales, customer success, technical support, everyone who needs to swarm on a deal, they can now do it in the flow of work inside of Slack. So Slack Sales Elevate allows you to update opportunities, update amounts, update your next steps, update your managers. But what I find to be really helpful here is you bring everyone in what we call the deal channel. Allowing those users to come inside a deal channel really, again, increases productivity, increases our win rates, helps the deal team accelerate their negotiation, but it really helps everyone in the company accelerate the deals, but it also makes the customer happy. The customer is engaged, they want to buy Salesforce, they're looking to really accelerate their business. How do we make it easier for them? And we believe that Slack Sales Elevate has helped us do that. And again, the stat here shows that we've seen a 4x deal updates that happened because of Slack Elevate, and this is continuing to grow. I know that Ashley's team is gathering feedback from the field on what's working, what's not working. We have a team called Seller Experience that's run by a gentleman named Scott Bargon. He used to be an RVP, but now he's drilling right into the app, listening to the sales leaders, listening to customer support, listening to all the teams to help deals close faster, but where that rolls into is helping boost productivity and helping customers become more successful. This is a close one to me. It's called Midas Slide. So Midas is an app that was custom built inside of Slack, and this was actually an app that Slack was using before we acquired them. We've seen a lot of success with Midas Slides, and essentially what it is, it's a tool that helps you build an executive-facing presentation in a matter of 3 to 4 clicks. I'll say 3.5, because we're at a developer conference, so I think I can say 3.5. But it's really cool, because in a matter of clicks, if I'm writing into a presentation and I really need to get my next prezo up to date or newly created, I can go to the Midas app and ask it to complete a executive-facing deck that includes metrics from the usage inside of that, well, inside from the Salesforce, from the customer Salesforce org, we don't see your data, but it comes in and we see metrics, how you're using it, but we're building a use case or a business case of why we're having this conversation today. Why should you upgrade your license inside of Salesforce? How are you using the tool? Are you getting the most out of Salesforce? What levers should we pull to help make it be more successful? And this app, again, in a matter of few clicks, I'm showing an executive-facing slide deck. I wish I could show you something. We tried to manage this, but I promise you this thing works extremely well. And you've seen some statistics here, over 50,000 slides created. But what I like here is the 45,000 plus hours saved. I think truly that's what it is. And at Salesforce, we are slides obsessed. And like the decks that come out of Midas aren't like pristine quality like a Mark Benioff deck. And you don't need that. That's just a waste of time. But if we can create something that's executive-facing, that gets the message across for the account executive and for the selling team, but more importantly for the customer, that's time saved. And this app has really helped us get there. Now, I've talked about a few things around what we've done. Ashley's talked about a few, but I actually want to talk about a few other items that we've done here. When we acquired Slack, we were a Slack-first company on everything we did. And when you go to the website and you fill out a lead form, that lead comes through Salesforce. We have intelligent lead routing. But Slack said we wanted it in Slack. So we built a Slack bot using the fun icons here, Slack, Heroku, Marketing Cloud, Salesforce, MuleSoft, to connect everything together. What happened was we saw leads coming in from Salesforce.com. Traditionally, they would come to an SDR or sales development rep, and they would use it on the lead record screen inside of Salesforce. Here, we used a custom Slack bot to send the leads directly to the sales development rep without leaving Slack. We've seen some super success from this lead pass bot, and that's something we learned when we bought the company, and now we're evangelizing it through all the other tools that we're building. M&A Slack Connect, we closed the Slack deal on Slack. I think it was a lot of learning for our company, but some people were already using Slack, but really the story behind this was we used Slack Connect to talk to vendors, talk to Slack outside of Salesforce. Who's used or heard of Slack Connect? Cool. So yeah, that's really essentially all the deals that we do at Salesforce, we talk to vendors, we talk to legal, we talk to the new company that we're acquiring using Slack Connect. So it's really cool to bring your partners inside of Salesforce or inside of one instance of Slack. Lastly, we talked a lot about case swarming and tickets we open with Ask Concierge. We're seeing success inside the company and how we're doing case swarming right inside of Slack. So Ashley mentioned how you can open a case, whether it's when on my vacation or I need an upgrade on a laptop or you need a new peripheral. Instead of going to, traditionally we would go to Service Cloud and talk about the case inside of that other application, we can now interact with the CSR right inside of Slack. I love that because I'm not looking for another app to open, and it's inside Slack, inside the flow of work. And lastly was business technology incident management. So if BT is, they're looking at all sorts of uptime for the website, Slack, all sorts of incidences. They manage that also inside of Slack. So I think we use PagerDuty. Is that true? Yeah, so we use PagerDuty to trigger incidences. But again, that PagerDuty app is connected inside of Slack where there's teams swarming from all over the company. But it's really intelligent because we're using PagerDuty so the right people get notified at the right time and they get into the right channel. I think you want to add something.
Yeah,
Yes.
On the idea of case swarming, it's not just for internal use, right? It's not just, oh, I have a question and then you've got 3 people trying to triage why your laptop won't turn on.
Yeah.
It's actually how we provide customer support to our customers. So Jim Roth, our head of customer success and service, he talks about bringing the experts to the case instead of the case to the experts. Swarming is all about putting the people into a channel to discuss. The customer is still on one end with the one customer success rep, but they never have to see anyone else while the triage is happening in the swarm, where they're getting the metadata, they're getting the information, they get all the information they need, and it's all in one channel, and then they can work together to figure out whatever is happening for the customer. That's how we can provide a lot faster support to our customers as well.
Yeah, I think we're doing that at TrailblazerDX or TrailblazerDX, and we did that at Dreamforce too. I also just want to add that we've also thrown a service GPT layer into the internal instance, so that's also helping us close cases faster, but also getting to a faster resolution. Lastly is we've seen, we talked a lot internally of how Slack has helped us really drive metrics and successes, productivity. in the flow of work, but I want to show that we're seeing this outside the company too, of all companies. And I'm not going to drain this slide, but really what we're talking about here is, again, boosting productivity, amplifying marketing impact. Like, how do we really help Slack deliver that impact when the campaigns are being set up and they're being delivered, but also they're tracked after a big conference like this. We mentioned service efficiency, and Ashley's team is doing an immense job with transforming IT delivery. But we've shared and we've seen these results from outside the company, which is what you're seeing here. So when they come into our Salesforce Innovation Center at headquarters or anywhere we have around the world, those IT or those CIOs are learning from us, but also we're learning from them, and this is what they've told us. So to wrap up the last 10 minutes, I'm going to hand it over back to Camilla.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, so lots of things that we've already done with Slack, but obviously we as Salesforce keep innovating with our own products. We as Slack keep innovating and releasing new things, and we're going to continue piloting them and deploying them internally. So what's on the roadmap? First, I'm going to show you an AI slide. What a surprise, guys. No, we're really excited about Slack AI. We're already using this internally. We talked about recaps, we talked about summaries, we talked about search. This was just released February 14th. We actually moved that launch up by 2 months, which is really exciting. And where we're gonna go with that is continue to integrate apps into the AI, so it's learning not just from what's in your own Slack, but from also the systems that are pulling data into Slack. We're going to incorporate AI into our workflow builder as well, so that you can have that layer of NLP as well as suggestions in your workflows, both in terms of, hi, how should I build a workflow that accomplishes this, as well as maybe the end result of a workflow is an AI-powered text output, right? Whatever it is, we're going to incorporate AI throughout those layers. Second, all about automation, which, not surprising if what we're talking about is a platform for work and productivity. We want to make it easier to continue to bring apps into Slack. So if an average user is using somewhere between 5 and 50, how do we continue to make sure that they're using them in a not onerous way in other places, but are using those in Slack? So no-code workflow builder, continuing to build out connectors, making sure that we have a library of external steps so that you can run custom code on Slack. Additional workflow links to make it easy to not have workflows attached simply to channels, but can be triggered from anywhere, can be attached anywhere, can be sent anywhere. Really just adding additional flexibility to the workflow builder. Finally, knowledge is really important for all of us. As we all know, Slack stands for the searchable log of all company knowledge.
Woo!
Right? Right. I know that.
That's a hard one.
But how do you make knowledge management and knowledge, especially tribal knowledge management, easier? How do you bring some structure to all of the conversations that have been happening in Slack and all the information embedded in them? How do you track information in lists so that you can track processes, manage processes, do lightweight project management, do prioritization sprints, do get customer feedback, do product feedback, all of that, and have it organized easily. We're really trying to make all of that searchable log as accessible and actionable as possible, because with that knowledge, you absolutely want to then be able to do something with it. If you haven't heard of this is my last slide. If you haven't heard of our developer program yet, if you head out to the Slack Summit or check out this QR code, we're starting up a Slack developer program. You get access to experts, you get access to sandboxes, you can start building on Slack, figuring out how to tie your Salesforce instance to Slack, go through your use cases, see what needs to come into Slack, what doesn't. And then, if you loved this presentation and you love TrailblazerDX, come tell us all about it. We'll give you coffee for it. And with that, we actually have time for Q&A. And everyone's going to sit silently and stare at us. But if you do have a question, the microphone is right there, and we are happy to answer either live or you can come up afterwards. Otherwise, thank you so much for spending a little bit over 30 minutes with us, and have an amazing,
I have one question. Did everyone learn at least 3 to 5 or more things from today's presentation?
That's not how you phrase that kind of question. At least 3 to 5 or more?
I did it for a reason. Yes? Yes? More than 5? Cool, thank you. We appreciate the feedback. It means a lot to us. We got some feedback from Dreamforce last year. We've improved this presentation, but like Camilla said, you get some coffee, but I believe there's a QR code.
There's a survey in the
Cool, yeah, in your app. But thanks, everyone. But for real, if you have any questions, we're here. Question? Okay.
Yes, Melissa?
Yes. Do you have a favorite child when it comes to the projects that you presented?
Did she say favorite child?
Yeah.
Products
Do
we
have a
worked on?
favorite child?
Out of your whole presentation, imagine each one of them was a child that you really like nurtured and
My baby's Elevate. Elevate's my baby. I love it. I used to be an SE. The fact that our sellers and any seller really that's using this can literally run their entire sales business from their phone, update like log calls, log meetings. Oh, I've left a meeting with so-and-so. Great, I can type all that in before I forget about it. I can update all 10 opportunities. As a manager, I can make forecast judgment calls, all of that on the phone, on the computer. It doesn't really matter where, and it's pulling from Salesforce and it's bi-directional. That's my baby.
Mine is more like a bloodstream than a child. I don't know, it crosses all of them. So thinking about AI and Slack together and what the power of that combination brings, not just with Slack AI, the product itself, but how we can embed AI functionality in everything we do, whether it's like the ticketing thing we talked about, whether or not I should approve something, like how that I think is going to power every single one of our processes and transform them and turn them upside down. Like that's just mind-blowing for me. Once we start getting in a room and brainstorming about some ideas, we're really coming up with some wild ideas that I think are going to be huge wins that hopefully you'll be seeing next year.
So I'm a nerd on Slack, and I like to be an early adopter. We just released Einstein Bot. That thing is super cool. It's like ChatGPT inside of Slack. So I'm asking it to fine-tune my copywriting. I'm asking it about questions, really about anything. It's like ChatGPT for internal use. So because we can't throw in confidential information into ChatGPT, which some of us may have already, but anyhow, I can now use it inside of Einstein. I think it's super cool. And Amar right here, he's going to get me a co-pilot inside of our instance of Salesforce. Thank you, sir. And we're going to be using that. I think that's going to be my next favorite tool, but Einstein is my favorite right now.
Good. I mean, that would have been my answer, but she said what we covered, so.
Oh, what we covered? Well, whatever. I just gave you more information because I did it in the flow of work and it helps me be more productive. Heck yeah.
It's like just the entire peanut gallery gets up to present, and we really enjoy this. So we hope you did too. And if you have questions, we're here.
Does anyone want to shout out any questions right now? Any questions in the audience? You can just scream it out. I'm sure everyone else will benefit from it. Nothing?
They don't have to scream. There's a microphone.
But still, it's just easier. Yeah.
Oh, she's going to ask us.
All right, MVP, I'm nervous.
It's not so much a question as a comment. I run our local Slack community group, and I'm always looking for presenters to come and do presentations about cool Slack stuff.
Huh.
So come find me. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So you're looking for presenters to help you?
I'm looking for content. I'm looking for folks to come and talk about Slacky stuff. Slacky stuff? Sure.
Yeah,
Slacky stuff works.
let's go with it.
Sure, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yes, please.
Cool. So if anyone wants to help present Slacky stuff, reach out to Amber. She might hook you up with some cool stuff because she's an MVP for 13 years.
Yes.
There's a question there. Was it Amar behind you? Did someone have a question? No? Okay. Well, enjoy the concert tonight. Tonight? Yeah,
Tonight.
Wednesday.
Tonight.
Have a blast and enjoy the rest of your TrailblazerDX, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.